Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. It is new week. I'll be starting the Asian session live market analysis on December 14th between 5 and 5:30 GMT. It is a simple market tracking technique. We can use the live market quote page as a tool to track the market for the week beginning. So you'll be able to open it in a browser, the link, and I will display the camera over that of the live market quote page. Okay. So you can see where exactly the current market condition is. Euro is around 1.466264 level. 1.4600 is the low. 1.4676 is the high. The net change is 49 pips positive. And you might have seen that earlier the net change was negative, and subsequently we saw the contrarian move. Euro and GBP were dropping, and also USD yen was also dropping, and subsequently all the three are making the rise as a contrarian move. So it is just a week beginning. Contrarian moves are being made, a volatile move in the case of Euro and GBP and also USD yen. And in the case of USD CHF and USD CAD, also Australian dollar, there are not much moves as such, excepting Australian dollar was making a quick drop and subsequently making a small recovery to that, coming to that level of 0.9104. The high is 0.9124. The net change is 21 pips negative. So what is expected in this particular week? When you have seen the contrarian move, when Euro and GBP were dipping, USDN was also made to drop using the data release as a trigger, and subsequently we have seen that the new low has been formed for today from when compared to that of the initial low which was set between 230 and 330. And so this sort of moves, why they are doing it. Let me just go to that other forecast and explain to you how exactly they wanted to make the moves in the market for this particular day. Let me focus the camera over that of the live market code page. We go to the PowerPoint presentation. So I am giving the forecast here. So during the Japanese session, either way swings and slides are expected. So what you see as a current condition in the case of Euro and GBP as a firming up move, and they are nothing but gaining the levels and in order to attract the buy orders at the lower level, and then the players will continue to lighten their positions in this week also. Then European session, there will be subdued swings in the middle level, and slowly the slide will happen towards close of the European session, and then during the US session, a brief swing and a quick drop are expected. So these are all the expected moves, basically swing and slide moves, and either way swings will be seen only during the Japanese session, and during such quick upward stop-ins, one can take sell positions and use the hedging order because market is dropping. So there could be a quick pullback before making the next drop. For that, you have to necessarily use the hedging order so that you won't get trapped. And if you are using the hedging order, then try to see that how the hedging is behaving or how the hedging is making profit or loss for 30 minutes of your observation. Accordingly, you can either cut the hedging or keep stop at entry in the case of hedging making profit. And once the hedging is closed with stop at entry, then you can continue trade with it of the sell positions. So basically, you'll come across today Euro and GBP are dropping, and USD yen will make the rise after the initial drop what you have seen during the start of the Japanese session. The data release would have taken the advantage or taken the credit for that drop, and subsequently the retracement of the entire level will happen. This is what going to happen in the case of USD yen. They will make very quick drop and retrace all the losses and make it as a positive net change. So when they make this sort of moves, and invariably you will find that it is very difficult to ascertain yen move. But keep in mind that they make this sort of moves in order to induce the traders to liquidate the long positions what they have taken during the one-sided rise what they have shown last week, and subsequently they will again make the one-sided rise. Then the traders will think that they are all sell levels. Then they will make further rise and trap it. So this you have to keep it in mind that in the case of yen and yen crosses, they are expected to make this sort of moves every week here afterwards. Then it is a weak beginning. Swing and slide moves are expected in the case of euro and GBP. So accordingly, try to take your trading decisions. There could be thin volume conditions in the market during this particular week and the next week also, because it is nearing the holidays and many of the traders would have just avoided taking positions. So the players are also willing to lighten their positions, and still you will find that volatility will be there to a certain extent, but predominantly you will come across the slide and drop in the case of euro and GBP. And general, you will find USD gaining moves for the year end. So let us just observe the initial highs and the lows set for today. And euro was showing an initial low of 1.4606 and they breached the low and formed a new low 1.4600, and the initial high was 1.4647 and they formed a new high 1.4676, and net change is now 55 pips positive from the Friday close. So you can understand that they are making either way stop ends during this Japanese session. Similarly, in the case of USD yen, the initial low was 1.6212 and they formed a new low 1.6192, and subsequently the high 1.6253 and they formed a new high 1.6312, and earlier it was 1.6296 and then subsequently they made one more rise. And if you see the net change in the case of GBP is also 51 pips, and because of that euro GBP has made the dip, and initially it was making a positive net change of about 25 pips. Now it has come below that of 0.900 psychological level. So in order to drop euro GBP, they will be making more swings in the case of GBP and slowly slide euro, and that you have to keep it in mind. Accordingly, take positions in the case of euro as well as GBP. So just like that, don't think that GBP is the one which gives very good profit, and don't try to sell just like that, and let them just gain all the levels, and subsequently when they stop cutting the high for more than 2 hours, because they cut the high now and stayed above the high for more than 30 minutes, so you need to wait for another 2 hours. They are not cutting the high, and subsequently if you try to take sell positions, then it will be able to make profit for you. Then USD CHF 1.0326 is the low, and they breached the low, and currently it is lower than current level is 1.0314, and 1.0313 is the recent low, and they made a small dip in the case of USD CHF. And when you compare the net change, USD CHF has got a net change of 29 pips, whereas euro has made a positive net change of 58 pips. Then you can understand that USD CHF, they do not want to drop big when compared to that of euro rise. Then the high is 1.0359 and they are expected to breach the high today again during the late European session. And as far as USD yen is concerned, they formed the low as 88.49 and they also cut the low by 10 pips. 88.39 was the new low, and subsequently they made the rise. 89.29 is the high, and currently the yen is trading around 88.8790, and the net change is 22 pips positive. And the yen crosses, euro yen and GBP yen, were showing initially net change negative, and they quickly gained the levels. So this is actually a downward stop in the case of the yen crosses and also yen, and during that time they dropped euro and GBP and again gained the levels. So they are holding firm euro as well as GBP. Allow them to just make the new high, waiting for 2 hours, So 3:30 GMT, they formed the initial high, and from there another 2 hours, they cut the high by around 4:30 GMT. So till end of Japanese session, you can wait so that they will just form the high, and subsequently, just last 30 minutes of the Japanese session, they could make a drop or and again gain a nominal level during that of the gap time and then drop. So during that time, you can try to take sell positions in them. And USDN, whenever there is a quick drop, you can take buy positions, which will be able to give you profit, and invariably try to use the hedging order to limit the risk. And in the case of Australian dollar, 0.9067 is the low and 0.9124 is the high. The high is intact, and currently it's trading around 0.910710 area. Net change is 17 pips negative, and they may briefly cut the high in the case of Australian dollar by about 20 to 30 pips and subsequently make the rise. How they have done it in the case of Euro and GBP, they can also do it in the case of Australian dollar and then subsequently drop. So during such upward stopping, you can just take sell positions. When Australian dollar makes an upward stop, and you will find that Euro and GBP could make an upward stop and at that time and then start reversing it. So make a note of the current high, and when they go above that of the high and come below in less than 30 minutes, then you can understand they wanted to reverse the market. And now they are quickly gaining the levels. So this is this is a strategy they use very frequently without without taking much of a buy positions. They gain the levels quickly and subsequently make the drop in the form of a slide. Then in the case of USD CAD, 1.0579 is the low, which is intact. 1.0621 is the high, which is also intact. The net change is 19 pips negative. So when Australian dollar is making a net change negative and the Canadian dollar is also making net change negative, then understand that they are focusing on the contrarian moves. So when they are making contrarian moves, then you have to keep in mind that they can rise Euro and GBP and also USD CHF or also USD Yen or also USD CAD and things like that. So some currencies will be making USD weakening move and certain other currencies will be making USD gaining move. And that is referred as contrarian move. Allow them to do the contrarian move, then subsequently take positions. Because when they are making contrarian move, you can only focus on the cross. So they are also focusing on the crosses. When the crosses are near the low, when they are making downward stopping, then try to take a buy. When they are handling near that of the high in the case of crosses and making an upward stop, and then try to take sell positions. That is how they gain the levels and offload or drop the levels and buy back. So this you have to keep it in mind. And always the week beginning, you don't quickly take positions. You allow them to settle the market and set that intraday trend and subsequently take the position so that you will not become perturbed or you won't develop any sort of sense that you have taken a sell position at the lowest level and things like that. Because when they make a quick rise, you tend to develop the fear because Euro has dropped all the way from 1.51 area to 1.46. GBP has dropped from that of 1.6768 area to 62 area. So invariably, if you try to take a sell position, you will get that fear that they may reverse it and they would have, or you would have taken a sell position at the lowest level. And in order to avoid it, you have to watch the market for more time and let them set the trend for this particular week also. You will be able to understand very clearly when they start making the moves for 2 sessions. And then it is easy for taking trading decisions. And quickly, if you try to take positions, then try to exit as swing trades. And let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and take up the questions which are asked here. Probably for the latecomers, I will display the forecast line again. That Japanese session either way swings and slide moves are expected. European session swing and slide moves are expected. Then US session swing and quick drop are the expected moves. So it is weak beginning. Swing and slide moves are expected in the case of Euro and GBP, and also in the case of USDN, more of a contrarian move is expected today. So I'll be displaying in the blog the forecast for today, and subsequently, if there is any change from that of the expectations, I'll give the updates also. So let me take up the questions which are asked in the window of the hotcom. Meanwhile, let me display the slide or display the live market code page for your benefit. Okay, balance has got a question. Tangan MFG slightly better than expected and 100 pips sell off on USD yen. Then big stop on USD yen to the upside. Does this tell you that USD yen will go lower early European session? Now, as far as USD yen is concerned, irrespective of the data release, you have seen that on Friday they made a massive rise and subsequently towards close they dropped about 70 pips from that of the high, and they had taken the market to that level of 89 from 89.70. And today they made a quick drop in order to hit the stops at the lower level, those who had taken the buy positions during the rise, and they will be stopped out and subsequently they will make the rise. So that is what they have done it. So the Duncan data was released and there was a drop in the case of USD yen, and within a matter of 1 hour, USD yen has started gaining again. So what that implies? So it's nothing to do with the data, and invariably they are using it as a trigger to make up and down moves in the case of USD yen, because always USD yen will be making volatile moves during the Japanese session and also US session, because predominantly during Japanese session, lot of currency conversion trades will happen, and also during the US session, there will be a lot of currency conversions of exporters and importers during the US session. So there you'll come across volatile moves, and invariably they see that the importers are benefited in US and also the exporters are benefited in Japan. That sort of moves they will be making about 100 to 150 pips. And if you carefully watch it, you'll be able to understand that when yen becomes very, very strong, many people might be thinking that the Japanese exporters will be affected. Whereas they make the moves in such a way that the US importers also take the delivery of the goods by paying lesser dollar when yen is very strong, and subsequently they will when yen is very weak, and subsequently during the Japanese session, they will make yen very strong, thereby the exporters also get the benefit out of what they have realized from that of US. So when the remittances are coming from there, they will be able to get more yen. So this sort of moves they make during the Japanese and the US session, and especially year end, you will find a lot of currency conversion trading happening, and also a lot of people have taken the loan from Japan, and those loans will also be covered again in this year and next year. So accordingly, they will make wild moves in the case of USD yen. So that I explained on Friday how exactly that when people were taking loans from Japan, when the interest rate was very, very low, and they are now forced to pay through nose. Okay. Then Samira has got a question. Do you see USD yen cutting the daily high in London or New York session? So current high is 89.29, and they will hover around in this particular level, probably make one more dip during the towards close of the Japanese session, when Euro and GBP are dropping in order to make one more drop in the case of yen crosses. You have seen that yen crosses were making net change positive. Again, they are making net change negative, and this is how quickly making up and down move, they will discourage traders taking long positions in the case of yen as well as yen crosses and subsequently make the rise. So during the US session, it is expected to go above that of the high or probably during late European session. Then Eric has got a question. So USD yen will rise again like last week? Yes. Then Balance has got a question. Then rise late European and early US session in USD yen? Yes. So better to take sell positions after the rise in the case of Euro and GBP for this week trade? Yes. That will be a good trade, and once the position makes profit, try to keep stop at entry because you are obviously taking lower level sells. So you have to understand the amount of risk involved in that. When you are taking lower level sells, they can quickly make a pullback in the market in order to hit the stops and then subsequently make the drop. What they have done it in the case of USD yen. So keep that in mind. Keep stop at entry. In case if you are stopped out at entry, then you will be given a better level to enter sell positions at a higher levels. So always take that as an advantage and don't hesitate keeping stop at entry when the position makes profit. Okay. Eric, better to take a sell position in European session instead of taking sell positions before the gap time. Yes, you can watch for 30 minutes during the start of the European session. When they are not cut the high, then you can take sell positions also. See, whether you take a sell position in the case of GBP, for example, at 1.6289 or 1.6303, it is immaterial as long as the position makes profit after taking the sell positions. So that is very important. So I want you to focus on that rather than trying to make a best possible entry. In that process, you become more and more impulsive. Avoid becoming impulsive, and during the start of the session, you will come across a brief upward stoppment or sometimes in one or two pairs, not in all pairs. In the case of GBP, because they wanted to drop Euro GBP, so there might be a brief upward stoppment and watch how far they are going. Wait for 30 minutes. So when the session starts by 8:30 GMT, you can watch, and if they are not cut the high, then when they are making a small firming up move to come closer to that of the high, afterwards they will not cut. At that time, if you try to take sell position, you will be in a position to easily keep stop at entry. So this sort of entry decisions are very important. You have to necessarily observe the type of moves what they are making in the market. Only then you will be able to fine tune your entry rather than using any of the other type of statistical applications. Then Samira has got a question. What about Euro GBP? Do you think that retracement we saw during the Japanese session might provide a good buy level above Friday low of 89.79? Now, I will not recommend buy and sell trade in the case of Euro GBP. If you watch Euro GBP, which has not made any significant rise, so if you are taking a buy positions, obviously it has to make some profit. That is what our objective is. So when it is not making a very significant rise, then it is not advisable to take a buy and sell trade in the case of Euro GBP. Let them make the gain. If they gain the levels, fine. Don't repent that I could have taken a buy positions, because if others have taken the sell position, then only they will make the rise. So if the other traders have not taken the sell positions, then they are not going to rise it. If all thinking of taking a buy position below the psychological level 0.90 in the case of Euro GBP, they will not rise and give profit booking opportunity for them. In that case, you will be able to understand, okay, the traders have taken the long positions, then the players have already sold them and they wanted to drop. At that time, if you even try to take a sell position below that of 0.90 level, still you will be able to see the position making profit. This is how we have to view the market. It is not that I am asking you to do a contrarian trade, I'm only asking you to watch the market for one or two sessions so that you'll be able to understand how other traders have taken the positions and how exactly the players have trapped the other traders. Then afterwards, if you try to take the positions, you will be easily see the profit when the players move the market according to your expectations. Okay. When do they take the N crosses during the European session? So at the moment you see that N crosses are showing the net change negative because GBP USD Yen again has made a dip after the gain, and you would have seen they showed a signal 88.95 in the bid and quickly made the drop. And so this is how they signal out and make the drop, and you have to understand when exactly the turnaround point comes, which will be very much visible in the case of the live market quote page, whereas which will not be displayed in your platform or even in the chart, because they will give the signals by showing a higher level bid or a higher level ask. So, and if you watch carefully, you will be able to understand what sort of signal they are giving it. Because after the higher level bid or higher level ask, how exactly they are making the move, you can just relate the, okay, this is a signal for the drop, this is a signal for the rise. Then when you are able to understand that, then you will be able to read their signals and trade along with them. Okay. So as far as the N crosses are concerned, mid-European session we can try to take buy positions. Because I have been explaining that if you want to take positions in the case of crosses, the mid sessions are the ideal times. Because they will be handling the crosses during that time. What is your current reading of gold? As I explained, gold, they made a high of 1,228 and subsequently made a drop of about $100 in a matter of 1 week. So you can understand that they lighten their positions, and a lot of traders are struck with a higher level buys. And they will hold and slowly drop in this particular week, and from midweek onwards they will drop further down, and by year end we should be able to see gold below 1,000, because the way in which they are offloading, it indicates that predominant of the institutions and others are holding buy positions in the case of gold, and the players are not willing to make any big rise in the case of gold, because already they have taken the sell positions and they wanted to trap those who are holding the buy positions with a bullish feel in the case of gold. Because if you observe it carefully, past 2-3 months, they have been telling whenever there is a risk appetite, gold will rise. Whenever there is a risk aversion, gold will rise. So people thought that it is the easiest way of trading in the market. Simply buy any level gold, we will be able to see profit. But they have shown the profit out of greed. If the traders have not taken the profit, thinking that it can go to 1,500 and things like that as a long-term objective, then they would have been very much trapped. And afterwards, the players have built the sell positions at the highest level, and now they are dropped about $100, and people might be thinking that we can do averaging in the case of gold and try to close them when it rises to about 1150 or 1160 and things like that. But they will slowly drop, and explain to them that you are done over trading in the case of gold. So this is what they have done with regard to all the currencies, and gold is not an exception. And this is also a commodity wherein a lot of players, a lot of traders have started taking positions in the case of gold, thinking that it is the highest level, so why not you take a sell position? Or gold has appreciated like anything. Everybody says that it is a safe haven, why not we make an investment? And a lot of people have taken the positions in the gold bonds, etc. And we will find that how exactly they are being hurt. So this is normally a story in the financial market. It is a typical herd mentality. A person who does not understand the market will be tempted to take positions in a currency pair or in a commodity where the going is good and the drop nobody envisages. And in this sort of instruments, people try to bet their money and probably the hard-earned money they will try to save that, okay, gold has appreciated so much. Why not we make investment in gold? And probably that is the best way to store the money. But you have to keep in mind, okay, I am willing to buy gold at 1,100 or 1,200 and I am expecting it to go to 1,500, but I want somebody to buy it from me at 1,500. If there are short sellers, then probably they will come for a short covering to buy it at 1,500. But if the whole herd of traders are holding only buy positions, expecting somebody else to buy it from that at a higher level, probably the person has to come from heaven to buy it at a higher level. This is what happened with regard to the herd mentality, and you will find slowly the liquidation happens, and this is not new to the financial market. And you know that every financial instrument will have this sort of hype, and subsequently they will gain all the levels, but the players know exactly all have turned long in this. Okay, this is the time to exit. Then nobody is willing to take a sell position because they have seen that they have been badly hurt when there was a rise. And when all try to take a buy position and try to do averaging and things like that, you will find that there will be one-sided drop. And this is referred as a drop like 9 pins. So gold is known to make this sort of moves. This is not new now for this year. And every year we will come across massive moves in the case of gold twice in a year. So there is an upward massive move and you will come across a downward massive move in the case of gold. Okay, what do you mean by contrarian moves? That the USDN will go up? Yes. When Euro and GBP are rising, that is USD weakening move. Whereas USDN, when it rises at that time, that is USD strengthening move, because USDN, yen is a denominator currency in the USD yen pair. So that makes USD strengthening move. So when some currencies make USD weakening and certain other currencies make USD strengthening, then it is referred as a contrarian move. Okay. Grow has got a person. Do you expect Euro USD and GBP USD to continue slide for this week? Yes, it's what I expected. This is what I understand from the contrarian move when both are making the same move. No. Contrarian move, that numerator as well as denominator currencies make similar moves. Rise or the drop. Okay, how do they move GBP, USD, Euro USD, Euro Yen, GBP and AUD USD all at the same time? So that is what I want you to see the live market code page. If you see in the live market code page, when they rise, they take only two currency pairs at a time. Say for example, they are rising Euro as well as rising GBP. And when they make such rises, they might be holding Euro USD Yen or holding USD CAD or holding AUD. This sort of moves they will be making so that they will be able to handle the respective crosses. When Euro rises, when Australian dollar is not rising, Euro Australian dollar currency pair, the cross will make the rise. Then subsequently they will make a drop in the case of Euro and GBP and rise Australian dollar. Then Euro Australian dollar will rise. So only when they make such contrarian moves, the crosses can make the volatile moves in the market. So for that, they take at a given time two currency pairs and make the moves. So this you need to understand, and especially during the start of the session and the end of the session, they will try to handle all the four majors and the two commodity pairs. As a result, you will find the respective crosses also making volatile moves. During mid session, they will only handle two currencies at a time. Okay. Where do you see the USD Euro USD sliding before they are starting rising, and the same for GBP. See, there will be some more slide in the case of Euro and GBP in this particular week. Probably the next week they will make some more volatile moves, and year end they are expected to make swings near that of the low. There may not be any deep low anticipated now. They will be making swings around here, and the first 2 weeks of 2010 you will come across very visible drop in the case of Euro and GBP. At that time, you try to watch, and when they start making a lower level consolidation with downward stop, and you can start accumulating buy positions. That can be a good buy level for this particular next year. Currently, there will be swings. Don't try to attempt position trade. I will be giving the forecast for the year 2010 on 15th of January. At the time, I will give the entire forecast for the year 2010. And accordingly, you can decide upon your position trades. When you look at the live market quote page, watch the bid and ask to see them taking the pair from the negative or red towards the positive green. This is when you look to take a buy. Is this how you read the live market quote page? See, the live market quote page gives you enormous insight. So you come across the net change, and you come across the current levels, and which are comparable to that of the high and the low. Say for example now Euro, which is trading around 1.4677, and earlier the high was 1.4676, and they cut the high and again gone above. So you find that they are cutting the high. So as I said, that you have to wait for 2 hours for them to settle down, and they will try to cut the high by a few pips, so that you will be able to find how far they are able to go and subsequently take the sell position. Earlier you would have noticed that net change was about 52 pips positive, and now it has become about 64-65 pips net change positive in the case of Euro, and in the case of GBP it was about 52 pips positive earlier, and it has become 55 pips positive. So they made about a 3 pips gain in the case of GBP, whereas in the case of Euro they made about 10 pips gain. So this they are trying to do it in order to gain little bit of level in the case of Euro GBP. Then subsequently they will make the drop. So you have to read the net change and also relate the current market level to that of the high and the low. Then you will be able to develop a very good insight what they are trying to do at a given time. And when they are building sell positions, you know that they will make drop the next session. So they are gaining the levels quickly, they gain the levels quickly, and now they are building sell positions. So if you think statistically, probably it can go up to 1.4723 or 1.4767 and things like that. And they may not rise up to that, and they will not give very good profit booking opportunities for those who have taken the higher level buys on Friday. So that you have to keep it in mind. They handle it in such a way that those who have taken near the low on Friday might be able to book profit, but near high, if they have taken the buy position, they won't be giving the profit booking opportunity. So if you compare everyday high and the low, then you will understand, okay, they are not breaching yesterday's low or yesterday's initial low and going above. Then it shows very clearly on Friday, whoever has taken between the initial high and the initial low, a buy position, they are not giving the profit booking opportunity. And if they happen to hold the positions, they will try to liquidate their positions towards close of US session today. So this is how you will be able to read their intentions very clearly using the live market quote page. Okay. Do you see, Arun, do you see big rise in GBP and again drop for year end? Around 1.63 as you have mentioned. Yeah, they already reached 1.63 area, and they will just go to 1.61 or 60 area and again come back to 1.63. Because they wanted to drop Euro GBP. For that, they should not drop GBP more. Only then, if they drop Euro more and hold GBP, then they will be able to achieve that particular objective. Can you please show slide of the initial high and low? Yes, I will show that. Will they cut today's low in the case of GBP? Yes, it is anticipated. Do you think USD yen to cut low later? USD yen may not cut the low, and probably if they cut it and if a lot of longs have been built up, then there could be a possibility they may cut the low, but I am not anticipating it. Okay, when do you expect USD weakening move? Will they be late January? Yes, from 3rd or 4th week of January, you will come across USD weakening move that will prevail for about 4 months. I used, okay, USD CAD at low. Do you have any view? Yeah, USD CAD you can start buying it whenever they are making downward stop. USD CAD is less traded currency when compared to other currencies, so they can easily make up and down moves. When they start cutting the low and when they stop cutting the new low for about 30 minutes to 2 hours, then you can try to take a buy positions. That will be able to give you profit. Let me display the slide. Okay. So the forecast slide. Japanese session either way swings and slide moves are expected. European session swing and slide moves. Then US session swing and drop are expected. So you can see that they are gaining levels in the case of Euro and GBP. Allow them to do that and subsequently try to take trading decisions. So it is weak beginning. Swing and slide moves are expected in Euro and GBP, and USD is expected to make contrarian moves today. And with regard to the initial high and low, you can just make a note of it. So see how exactly they are trading it. And once they come below that of the initial low, initial high 1.4647, a quick drop will happen to 1.4606, then that will induce the low to be cut. The current low is 1.4600. Make a note of initial low and the current low and see when they break this initial low, then that drop will be very, very quick in the case of Euro GBP. So this is how, if you try to relate the initial low with that of the current market, initial low and the high with that of the current market condition, then you will be able to read the market very easily without any difficulty. In case if you find any difficulty, kindly ask me in the blog or during tomorrow's webinar. I'll be glad to answer to your questions. So I take this opportunity to thank everybody. See you again by tomorrow.